In a world of fantasy games, Madame Dark, the Golden Warrior and hope of the human warriors, is leading an attack against dangerous monsters. The protagonist of our story hopes is currently clashing swords against a giant orc, enjoying his epic battle. Let's dive into the real world. Kim Junwoo is a loser office worker who loves Over the Fantasy, a game that exists in an era where technology has flourished beyond comprehension. The age of advancement is finally here, and virtual reality games are more popular than ever. Junwoo enjoys playing Over the Fantasy the most, but it's not because of its fame. In fact, the game is less popular than others. It boasts a notorious reputation for being so difficult due to its incredibly realistic graphics. One differentiating factor is that the game refuses to accept money as a form of currency like other games. This means no one will be able to buy their way into becoming stronger. In short, it is free of any in-app purchases involving money. The only way to become stronger inside the game is to level up one's skills. Many players were turned off by the game, but Junwoo actually liked how different it was, so he ended up becoming a no-lifer inside the game, playing it 24/7 without end. Junwoo finishes his work shift, barely surviving the daily beating of his job. He's excited about the game's first major update in 3 years. Chapter 2 is supposed to update at midnight, and our boy needs to get his preparations going before that time. Junwoo gears up to enter the world of virtual reality. The system recognizes his identification and welcomes him to the virtual world. Inside, he's given the choice to pick a character that he likes. Normally, players who have more than 3 max-level characters are considered no-lifers. And guess what? This guy has 7 max-level characters, so he's probably the king of no-lifers at this point. Junwoo, instead of picking a strong character, decides to pick a low-level character called Dio. He's a level 10 normie that is simply used for storage. Junwoo customized him for storage purposes to his liking. He enters the consciousness of his character, becoming Dio himself. Is that a JoJo reference? You tell me. Junwoo learns about an additional class being added to the game. He wants to gather items to upgrade his level in the meantime. But it's not an easy task. It's like organizing a terrible room. Thanks to Dio's storage, he has tons of items to sort, so it's going to take our boy some time to get through them all. After a while, he's finally done with the sorting process. Junwoo arrives at the warehouse keeper called Tony. It took him a really long time, so he doesn't want to waste more of it and requests the old geezer to open up the subspace. Master Shifu-looking ass charges him 1 silver as the cost. The game system is centered around level, which means the higher the level, the more fee a player is charged. This is the key reason why players prefer to keep all their storage characters around level 10, to prevent additional costs. Junwoo takes note of a special weapon that he's been keeping for a while. He retrieves the lichen kukri knife from his inventory and hopes to give it some good use by handing it to one of his other characters. The game notifies him about the incoming update, which will occur in 15 minutes. Players are advised to move to safe locations and log out at once. Poor Junwoo is frustrated because he spent hours organizing his warehouse and couldn't even play the game. He is unwilling to log out after spending so much time doing nothing. Junwoo is confident that the game will forcefully disconnect him when the time comes. Avra Village is actually a dangerous location where the level requirement is level 100. But this guy thinks he's going to be okay as long as he stays hidden in the village square. He quickly navigates his inventory, while the server notifies him again about the incoming update in 5 minutes. The server demands the adventurers to log out, when suddenly, an unexpected glitch occurs, causing a large-scale system-wide error. The game forbids Junwoo's ability to send messages, but he's clueless and has yet to notice any changes. The sorting process is at last complete. Junwoo is exhausted and does a few stretches. But that's when he senses an odd feeling. Even though the update was scheduled to happen, Junwoo wasn't disconnected. In fact, he's still stuck in the game, without any notification of what's going on. Like any sensible player would, he decides to log out manually. But when Junwoo calls for the system screen, nothing happens. The precious logout button that he's looking for is nowhere to be found. Now stuck, his senses have become even sharper. It's strange that he could feel his character to such a fragile level, almost as if he's actually experiencing the game in real life. Junwoo knows something is wrong. With his sharp mind, he concludes that his only hope now is to head to the dimensional fissure. He sprints as fast as his legs could carry him. The dimensional fissure is the only location where users can interact and play with others. Junwoo is hoping to find other people like him, or so he thought, because when he does arrive, no one is there. The gate which was once located here is nowhere to be found. Suddenly, a child bumps into Junwoo before apologizing. He stands there, speechless and hopeless, as if he's seen a ghost. The reason for his baffled state is because the impact felt like real life. Junwoo sweats bullets, realizing that the game is no longer any different from the life he knows. Clinging to any signs of hope, he thinks the game must have been experiencing an error. He's so agitated that he wants to sue the developers when he logs out. But I think he's too hopeful for even that. Why? Because 3 days passed and guess what? Junwoo succumbs to his despair inside the game's world. His luck is the worst because not only is he stuck inside the game, but he's also stuck with the worst character in his team. At the training grounds, the guards are training their men to extreme conditions to protect the village. Junwoo has finally accepted his fate, that he's been transported to this game and that there's no way out of it. Despite having some of the best characters in the entire game, this dude stupidly ended up with a trash level 10 character. It's enough to make him cry. But Junwoo is glad that he isn't facing any money problems. It's just a temporary relief when you compare to the fact that he's stuck inside a game. Junwoo's noise catches the attention of a village guard who inquires about his purpose. He tells the guard that he's merely interested in watching them train. The excited guard offers him to join them in their training, but he declines. Even if he wanted to, it wouldn't be right as he's just a low-level character with no profession. Then, a realization strikes him. Junwoo asks about the purpose of a group training session to begin with. The guard informs him about the incoming waves, and by that, he means monster waves. The Afra village is an average stronghold, but it is not safe for monster waves who come to attack the village from time to time. Players can fight along with the village NPCs to level up and become stronger. The game developers used this system to help the development of the player base. But it's not like a blessing for someone like Junwoo, who is an average level 10 dumbass stuck in a village with only level 100 warriors. It's an overkill mission with no way out for him. Still, he doesn't want to waste his time moping around and pitying his condition. The dude knows he's already fucked beyond comparison. There's also no guarantee if he's going to return alive if he chooses to die inside the game. So Junwoo doesn't want to take that terrifying risk. Assessing his only option, Junwoo decides that he has to survive as much as he possibly can. First, he goes to the warehouse. His goal is to be able to select a class to increase his chances of survival. There's a few options, like assassin class and martial arts class. Despite both of them, he has yet to achieve the required level to promote his current profession. From his inventory, Junwoo spots an interesting promotion book. It is covered with purple light and draws his attention. The class is hidden, but for some reason, he's able to use the promotion book despite his current level. Junwoo wonders if he glanced over some kind of detail inside the game. The fantasy is more realistic than any other virtual reality game out there, and it was tuned to perfection. This means there aren't any bugs, or any cheats, and players are provided with a handful of information. To make the game more interactive and playable, players have to search hidden content and information on their own to make the experience more enjoyable. It's one of the reasons the game did not receive a good reception in reviews, as some players thought it was inconvenient. Anyway, not even a veteran like Junwoo has heard of a special promotion book like this one. He's more than confident that he's stumbled across one of the game's hidden items. Armed with the knowledge of this promotion scroll, Junwoo becomes even more excited to survive in the virtual world. He thanks the old geezer and bolts away to the mercenary guild. Inside, there are adventurers of all kinds. One person deviates from the line and gets confronted by a man. He notices the man's outfit and judges that he's so poor there isn't anything worthwhile for the noob. The arrogant scumbag inquires about his purpose. The cloaked figure tosses him a mercenary's medallion and demands to see the guildmaster. The medallion is a symbol of status, granted only to the best veterans inside the game, which also means that this guy isn't a newbie, but in fact, he's someone who has invested a lot of time in the game. The cloaked figure is revealed to be our boy, Junwoo, who confirms that his A-rank medallion achievement is so good that only the top 0.1% mercenaries could ever hope to reach such a level. He brought it from his warehouse for a specific purpose. Using the medallion's influence, Junwoo will fake his identity as a strong mercenary. He has also equipped himself with an enchanted hood to hide his real identity as a storage character. As for everything else, he's going to gaslight the entire guild in his negotiations. Junwoo tells the receptionist that he's got one more thing to show to them. He unveils the Imperial Medal of Honor, yet another shiny achievement used to signify one's status. Now that he's proved himself as a big shot, Junwoo urges a meeting with the guildmaster. He's hoping to God that others don't start questioning the validity of his medals. One voice praises his achievements. This man is the Mercenary Guild's manager, Cotton. He's a buff dude with a Mr. Olympia physique, and he's eager to hear more from Junwoo in a private meeting. But Junwoo wants to play by his own rules. He's not interested in talking to some lowly manager. Junwoo expresses his interest to meet the guildmaster only. Cotton apologizes on the guildmaster's behalf and explains the guildmaster's absence. That's why he's prepared to hear out the man's request on his behalf. Junwoo likes what he hears and agrees to talk. The dude is sweating bullets underneath, but at least things are going well. The only thing he has to take care of now is the negotiation process. After hearing him out, Cotton learns that the man is looking to take on a quest to the Forgotten Temple. Junwoo confirms that it's his only condition. The manager muses for a moment. While he does have one mission available for the same location, he's curious why a high-level mercenary is interested in accepting the quest. Cotton explains there being a request to guard a priestess, but many mercenaries have already been tasked to the same job. Junwoo is happy to accept the quest regardless, and is uninterested in seeking a reward. His only task is transportation. Intrigued, Cotton asks if he has a mission of his own to protect another important person. Junwoo denies anything of the sort. It's just that he wants to step in case the other mercenaries fail to protect the priestess. Right now, he's confident in his negotiation strategy, especially with no rewards down the line. The manager should send him without worry, as it would help mitigate the risk and ensure success of the mission. Cotton happily hands him the request without a second question. Junwoo is quick to get excited and receives the paperwork to fulfill the contract. He signs the mercenary contract, and so his request is just underway. Cotton informs him about the priestess and instructs the mercenary to return tomorrow at the north exit. Junwoo, content with the meeting, decides to leave and begin his preparations for the mission, hoping to avoid any loose ends. The following day, a bunch of mercenaries are excited to find themselves teamed up with an A-rank mercenary. They're waiting for him approaching the north exit. Raymond is the first to extend his greetings to the A-rank mercenary. Junwoo introduces himself as Monte to conceal his identity. What he didn't predict was the fact that there are only 4 guards being sent on the mission. Junwoo wonders if the manager intentionally removed some of the guards from the mission because of his sudden participation, instead of things going his way. Junwoo was the one who got fooled instead. The priestess who issued the request comes running and apologizes for being late. Clara, the priestess of the Luna Temple, is going to be in charge of the mission to the Forgotten Temple. Junwoo observes her messy outfit and wonders what happened on her way here. Clara glances at him and keeps staring without end. Junwoo wonders if she has detected something from him. He thinks it has to be out of intrigue, since A-rank mercenaries are considered rare in the village. It's time for the mercenaries to start the mission. Junwoo is immediately hit with a warning notification about his inferior level in a dangerous field. At night, the mercenaries discuss their mission strategy. They plan to stay at Camp 2 the upcoming day by taking a safer path without danger. Raymond agrees that it would indeed be the safest course of action. But then Junwoo comes in with a strong rejection. He insists on taking the shortcut, and shares a knowledge of a secret cave that will help them arrive at the temple in less time. Raymond confronts the A-rank mercenary for not knowing the area better than they do. The risks involved in taking the shortcut are dangerous. Junwoo maintains his arrogant stance and claims that he knows better about the area. He suggests using the Dunville Forest to shorten the distance and reach the temple. Once again, Raymond meets him with frustration, and as the Dunville Forest is teeming with monsters that could risk their mission, Junwoo reflects that he's not choosing the path of his own will, but rather, it's because he has to. Otherwise, his disguise won't last very long. He has to maintain his act to fake his level 10 weak self, and this is the only way how. Junwoo intends to look strong and maintains his confidence. He breaks silence and declares that he will head to Camp 3, and that it would be better for the priestess to take the faster route. Junwoo asserts that he's uninterested in wasting time. Outside, he's showing off some mad confidence, but on the inside, he's scared shitless and realizes how annoyed the other mercenaries must be to listen to him. Junwoo consults Clara about her opinion. She's put on the spot and recommends getting there sooner, so she's okay with listening to Junwoo. She's happy to take the longer route on the way back. Raymond and the other mercenaries are forced to obey. They're expecting the hotshot A-ranker to handle all of the monsters in case things get difficult for them. Junwoo confirms that he's willing to do that. He's happy to have acquired Clara's support, turning the tide in his favor. The group goes to sleep to rest and recover for the upcoming mission. The next morning, Junwoo is beaten from his experience sleeping on the ground. Normally, it would cure all of his exhaustion if he was a player, but now that he's physically inside the game, the experience isn't as recovering as he thought it would be. In fact, he feels sluggish and drained. Raymond questions if they're going in the direction of the cave. Junwoo alerts them to be cautious of the nearby werewolf territory. Suddenly, Raymond starts drifting off on his own. Turns out he just wanted to take a piss, and he still seems upset about last night's discussion. Junwoo intends to use the situation to his favor. He recommends the mercenaries to take a break. Luck is not on Raymond's side. The dumbass was attacked by a giant werewolf and is getting his ass chased in the forest. Junwoo is happy that he got exactly what he deserved for ignoring his warnings. Scared like crap, Raymond runs for his life while the other mercenaries beg for Junwoo's help, who doesn't want to participate in the battle because Raymond acted against his warnings. They're annoyed by his attitude. while Junwoo recommends Clara to stay close to him. The mercenaries prepare to defeat the werewolf. This battle would serve as a good example of their skills, and a chance for Junwoo to learn things. The fight starts off and surprisingly, despite their D-rank status, they're good. They're all over level 100, and with just a slight difficulty, they're capable of defeating the werewolf in their numbered attacks. But the fight isn't over. Raymond was attacked by 2 werewolves, and not just one. The injured werewolf is nearing collapse, giving Junwoo the perfect opportunity to go and steal the kill and demonstrate his abilities. He thinks just one hint of his powers should be enough to make them believe in his strength. Junwoo steps forth to help the mercenaries. Even though they're doing okay, it's hard to kill werewolves because of their hidden skill that NPCs don't know about. Junwoo demands the lowly hunter to step aside. Raymond talks shit despite his precarious condition. He thinks he's won the battle, but clearly this idiot wasn't aware of the werewolf's hidden skills. The monster unleashes its outrage, crushing the D-rank hunter's shield in a single tackle. The mercenary is sent flying, but then Junwoo steps in and instantly dismantles the monster in a single attack. What they witnessed was impossible. While it seems like Junwoo is the one who dealt the killing blow, the reality is, he activated a secret move which became the weakness of the werewolf. Since werewolves are beast-type monsters, they are capable of using a berserk state before death. This increases their physical strength to another level, and boosts their endurance stats too. An effective way to defeat berserk monsters is to use the purifying herb. Junwoo coated his weapon with the herb's powers and simply used it to defeat the werewolf. He already knows everything about the monsters inside the game, so it was an easy task. Junwoo leans forward to kill the final werewolf. Despite their difference in levels, he can still overcome monsters by memorizing their movements. Junwoo dodges each attack, displaying his impressive combat ability, even at level 10. He anticipates the werewolf dashing in his direction. Junwoo causes the beast to hit its own head in a tree. Now that the monster is temporarily stunned, he can easily land the killing blow. One stab from the weapon is enough to kill the werewolf at once. He didn't have to go this far. But it was all done to show his power. Werewolves always die after they leave the berserk state. In reality, if Junwoo tried swinging his weapon against a normal werewolf state instead of berserk, then he wouldn't have been able to hit anything at all. The priestess heals the injured mercenaries thanks to her powers. Junwoo displays his concerns for Raymond's health and apologizes for choosing a dangerous path. His humility, coupled with an amazing performance, earns him Raymond's respect. They finally believe in his skills. Dude ended up with respect 1000 like he's in a Grand Theft Auto game. At last, they're finally able to uncover the hidden cave, thanks to the A-rank mercenaries' guidance. Convinced of his value, they started to treat him like a hero. They want to hear all about his amazing stories and how he acquired the Medal of Honor. But he thinks it is much too soon to swing for celebrations when they're still stuck with the mission. Junwoo recommends spending the night inside the safe cave. Junwoo accomplished a bunch of things all at once. The only thing that is still bothering me is the game's update. This guy knows every inch of the game since he ended up no-lifing his way to max level 7 of his main characters. But thanks to this update, all of that knowledge and experience could end up useless. So he needs to plan for cases where the game deviates from the original. It will be difficult, but Junwoo assures himself that he can do it. The following day, he displays more of his impressive talents by taking down the ants monsters. The hunters think it's because of his raw skill, but this smartass has been secretly using a plant disease potion to knock out the ants in a single attack. Bro is crying because he can't utilize the experience points as his character has yet to establish a proper class. Despite the plant-killing potion, the monsters still attack the mercenaries. He recommends Rika to parry their attacks instead of directly blocking with a shield. Junwoo instructs Raymond to concentrate on attacking the enemy relentlessly while they're in an abnormal state. It's all going swimmingly well for the mercenaries, who are succeeding thanks to Junwoo's expert knowledge. At last, they arrive under the shade of a great tree. Junwoo inspects the surroundings and finds what he's looking for. Their goal is to enter the narrow hole, a shortcut to the Forbidden Temple. Raymond and the others are uncertain. They're scared they might get stuck. Junwoo alerts Clara to be careful. She's getting swooned by his charm, but his warning wasn't just a light one. They're really supposed to fall down. Junwoo descends with the priestess, who screams all the way in fear. The horror trip ends with both of them landing directly inside the Forbidden Temple. Raymond and the others quickly follow them too. Clara is speechless seeing the ancient murals. In the original game, these murals serve a specific purpose to reveal clues about the main storyline. It's about the fight between Luna and the evil god who worshipped the demon god. Luna faced him as the moon goddess of the realm. Raymond points to a unique mural about knighthood. This particular mural catches Junwoo's attention, who is scared to find that this mural is different from the original story he remembers. Reminiscing with the events of the storyline, the Golden Knight is the same person that was seen in the trailer. Clara explains that they're reading a prophecy that has yet to come true. She saw much of it in the temple, but didn't expect to find one in a tunnel such as this one. Clara also serves the moon goddess Luna, so Junwoo is interested in what she has to share. The scripture is written in a dead ancient language, but thankfully Clara knows it. She translates a warning from Luna, which directly states the end of the world. It's exactly the same as the first line of the game's trailer song. Junwoo is now dead certain the Forbidden Temple will contain a unique event, an event that not even he experienced before. Despite his worst fears, he has to pedal through and move forward. Otherwise, he has no hope in surviving the game's world. He commands the group to head inside the temple. As they're making their way to the temple, they're astonished to find a unique path. The golden statue of the armored knight is the same person depicted in the trailer as well as the mural from earlier. Carla admires the beauty of the statue while Junwoo is cautious that it might start moving. Obviously this idiot is just guessing. Carla confirms that there won't be any problems ahead as the higher-ups already confirmed the area's safety. But it's still strange sounding to Junwoo, who knows that if the statue really becomes the guardian of the temple, then he's about to get destroyed with his current party. More like obliterated even. The system informs him about the new area. The first condition of the quest has been completed by escorting the priestess to safety. Carla thanks the group for being patient with her. The most difficult part of the job is finished, but Junwoo came here with something else planned in mind. His job promotion is still needed to be taken care of. From out of the blue, the promotion scroll begins illuminating an activation. The system tells him that he has reached the hidden condition. In response to the hidden scroll, the entire temple shakes as the golden statue of the knight shatters into a million pieces. From underneath emerges a shadow monster that neither of the party members expected to face. The Dark Warrior steps forth, donning a black metal armor. They aren't just facing any guardian. Rather, this guy is strong enough to give level 300 adventurers a really difficult time. He's the cursed Knight of Death. Junwoo is in a pickle. This type of creature shouldn't be spawning in a lower level area after all. Facing the Death Knight, Junwoo questions their chances. His experience as a no-lifer gaming loser leads him to believe that there is some other goal instead of confronting the monster directly. After all, each hidden quest is connected to some kind of background story. That means there has to be another way to solve the quest instead of defeating the Death Knight in battle. Suddenly, his book of promotion activates again, forcing the beginning of the hidden quest. The mission is to obtain the blade of the Death Knight. It's exactly the glimmer of hope he was looking for. When searching for the game's forum, Junwoo once stumbled upon a guide to defeat the Death Knight easily. Its main weakness is holy magic, so if they have even one priest-level NPC, casting a shield should be enough to cause the Death Knight to enter a stun state. Then, the knight will attempt to break the shield, which will skip the initial battle. Junwoo goes for the same exact strategy with Clara. The Death Knight unleashes its furious flames to destroy them. Clara is worried for Junwoo, who instructs her to prepare her holy shield at once. This mission is supposed to become the key to his hidden promotion, and they are perfectly fitting Junwoo's rank. Carla advises Junwoo not to fight against the high-level knight as it could prove to be dangerous for him. But he insists that there's no choice but to cast the shield, before it inevitably lays waste to every single one of them. Despite her hesitation, Clara steals her resolve and pours her holy magic inside her spear. When the spear is ready, she confronts the Death Knight. Junwoo helps her lead a precise strike, and at last, Clara casts the holy shield upon the Dark Warrior, entrapping him in a ball of yellow magic energy. Clara is shocked by Junwoo's impressive skills, which leads her to wonder about his identity. The battle has yet to finish, as the Death Knight frees himself from the prison of holy magic. But also, the first phase of the fight has been skipped instantly, forcing them to enter the second phase of the boss monster. For this phase, the Death Knight unleashes its giant blades targeting the ground. Ignoring Clara's warning, Junwoo shouts a question at the knight, once again fulfilling a condition of the quest. There's something special about the Death Knight. It is different from normal NPCs in the game. The monster is capable of speech, and thus a connection between Junwoo and the Death Knight is formed. Our pro-gamer protagonist is betting his life to gaslight the Death Knight with a convincing story. Everything connects just like the clues. They have entered inside the trailer video of the game. Madame Dark was the Holy Knight of Golden Armor. She waited for her messenger to return with reinforcements. In a tragic end, the messenger never returned, causing Lady Dark to become a Death Knight while the messenger became a lost spirit. With all puzzle pieces now connected, Junwoo calls out Dark's name and fools her by claiming to be the messenger. Proof of his identity is evident by the Medal of Honor that he possesses. The Death Knight pauses before kneeling down, congratulating Junwoo for his performance. The dude is actually shocked that he made it this far and gained allegiance to the Death Knight of the Holy Empire. Dark explains that they were eventually defeated and the Holy Empire fell. She waited for a long time for her messenger to return, with most of her comrades fading into non-existence. She mentioned a bunch of their names, but one name in particular was censored for a reason. Junwoo thinks it will serve a purpose, and wonders if he has yet to meet a specific condition. In what little time he has, Junwoo thinks about the final clue, while Dark prepares her blade. She has rekindled her flames of determination. Dark grazes Junwoo with her blade, recreating the exact mural that he saw. The clues encircle his mind. Throughout this time, Junwoo overlooked one critical detail. It was the trailer song's lyrics. Dark wasn't just waiting for reinforcements to arrive, but also grieving in hopes of her loved messenger to return. The Holy Knight Dark longed for the return of someone she loved. Junwoo has acquired the last clue. This person is connected to the final piece. Junwoo remembers how he acquired the A-rank mercenary medallion. The temple in which he found the medal was linked to the ancient Holy Empire. So when the game was updated, the same item found a new purpose. Dark ended up as a cursed knight, transcending death and waiting even beyond. He shows her the medallion, questioning if this is the final condition. At once the Dark fidgets as her armor tethers away. The final condition has been met, freeing the Golden Knight. She questions if her lover still has affection for her, despite her path filled with cursed blood and her body no longer the same. Junwoo doesn't get how he's supposed to respond to her. Dark claims that her very being trembles in his presence, even though Junwoo isn't the person she yearned for all this time. He has returned as a messenger to return the final medallion of the fallen warrior. With her shaking hands, Dark embraces the medallion, begging God to be kind to her lover and grant him a place in heaven. From his light, Dark finds her own. And finally, the story of the fallen Holy Knight is completed. Junwoo receives the ancient death sword as his reward. The system adds a new trait to his body and reconfigures it completely. Junwoo finds himself glitching out of the game before the game level shatters to oblivion. He regains consciousness in his normal body in the real world. Junwoo is actually shocked and thinks that everything was just a dream, as there was no way the game could end up becoming reality. He experienced so much fun, to the point he is depressed that his dream ended. Suddenly the real Junwoo wakes up from his slumber. Turns out the guy was dreaming about his dream. He's still stuck in the game. Clara and the others have come for him. They're so happy that he returned after defeating the monster by himself. It's not something to be proud of, especially when these imbeciles ended up running away from the fight. Junwoo wants to enjoy his rest in silence and throws them out of the camp. Inside, he inspects the ancient death sword with a level limit of 350. He's confused about the weapon's special restriction status. Just like he thought, the game has experienced a bunch of different changes because of the recent update. The only thing he discovered so far is the story's connection to the ancient Holy Empire. Junwoo is at a loss, because everything he knew up to this point won't be useful to him by much, especially if changes keep popping up out of the blue. He wants to stay sharp on his feet to ensure he lives through the end. Junwoo exits the camp and sees Clara. He tells her to return home with the other mercenaries because he has a solo mission to finish at the altar. Back at the altar, Junwoo configures the promotion scroll. It's finally time for him to receive the benefits of his class change. The system has been satisfied with every condition, which leads to an immediate promotion. It is covered by a thick void of energy that the Death Knight used with her weapon. At long last, Junwoo's promotion meets its completion. His new profession is the Forgotten Swordsman with the capacity to grow. Speaking of growth, Junwoo experiences 3 instant level-ups. This is thanks to the experience points he gathered after defeating the monsters in the forest. What's more, is that he's never heard of this unique job title before. It's an ordinary ranked job, so maybe his expectations were too high, and he still doesn't know what growth type even means for his case. Clara comes back to him and requests they head back to the village, but she wasn't expecting to find him in a pensive state. Junwoo assures her that everything's all right and decides to return together with the group. After a long journey, our hero returns to Avra village. Raymond thinks that the struggles they went through in the forest were all a part of Junwoo's training. Little does he know, our boy was just acting for his own benefit. He's excited to reap the rewards by checking in with the guild, but Junwoo didn't come here looking for one, so he took his early leave. The priestess stops him and explains that the Church of Luna is compelled to grant him a reward despite his initial negotiation. Raymond backs him up and casually invites him to a drink too, which means he's all buddy-buddy with this guy. Still, Junwoo impressively formed a good connection with his new team, but he has important matters to take care of and leaves without sharing a drink. His fake identity imposes a certain risk that he doesn't want to let loose and expose by growing closer to these guys. Raymond and the rest of his party are left saddened but ultimately accept his decision. Junwoo returns home, no longer feeling the need to adopt his hood. He's already cautious of his next objective. The reason he was so worried about achieving a promotion is because Junwoo knows about the incoming monster wave that will attack the village. His status window displays a bunch of different stats. Thanks to his experience in the forest, Junwoo is at level 35, but he has a job he knows nothing about. His only clue is that it must be related to the Death Knight herself. After all, the red energy from the promotion scroll matched her powers. A bad feeling succumbs Junwoo, who tries to assure himself. He's had the experience of leveling up characters that he didn't know about. All 7 of his max-level characters experience the same hurdles, in fact. Well, the problem now is that he's leveling up the real deal with stakes involved. It's important to withstand the wrath of the monster wave, and so that's Junwoo's next line of focus. He starts off by inspecting his newest skill that he received from the promotion. Pledge of Liberation is a level 1 skill, with a condition-based effect. If the target accepts the truce, all their health will be consumed, and they will become enslaved to the caster. For now, he can only adopt 1 contractor. It's a weird skill with too many risks involved at face value. Its main effect is to siphon the stats of others, and it definitely won't work on targets much stronger. At the same time, using it on weaker targets would be pointless. The second skill he acquired is called Slash. This one is a sword skill, but it's just way too basic. It's so basic that Junwoo was losing his damn mind even calling it a typical skill. In an unexpected twist, red energy emerges from within Junwoo's body. It's the same energy that emanated from the Death Knight. The system informs him that his skills change depending on the state he is in. That means, if Junwoo experiences anger and frustration, the normal skill Slash changes into something else. Adopting the emotion of anger, the skill stats boosted. The evolution conditions are also listed to ensure a steady path of progress. Junwoo is beginning to grasp an understanding of his unique growth skill. His basic skills are subject to evolve, which means his potential is sky high. Junwoo also possesses a special item called the Essence of Fire. It's an item with an increased drop probability when defeating higher level monsters. Junwoo's goal is to level up and increase his skills proficiency so that he can at least get to level 50 before the monster wave hits the village. Our boy quickly takes action and defeats the armored turtle monster, much stronger than his current level. These types of monsters are pretty weak and sluggish, making them an easy kill as long as you dodge their attacks. Junwoo dodges one of its attacks and goes for the killing blow. The level difference isn't hard to overcome as long as he knows about the weaknesses and attack patterns of his enemies. He levels up to 36, and though he could have finished the fight much faster with a better weapon, Junwoo can't use anything in his inventory because of his level restrictions. Basically, he's too weak to use them. But it's okay for this no-lifer who leveled up 7 characters to max. You can only imagine that this type of training is light work to him. All he has to do is grind his way to the top. Junwoo increases his swordsmanship proficiency with every encounter. After hours spent in tireless training, he stands exhausted, having finally conquered level 50. Corpses of the armored turtles lay wasted around him, as that was the cost to clear the mission. Satisfied with his current level, Junwoo is happy to retrieve the item from his warehouse, concluding his preparations for the incoming monster wave. The system informs him of a local quest to stop the monster wave by helping the villagers. Only 5 minutes remain. Back at the village guards are preparing for yet another monster wave invasion. An entire platoon of hungry monsters are coming their way. The archers unleash their first column of arrows, raining down on many of the monsters and severely wounding them. The next phase of action is to activate the shield bearers. These men are responsible for blocking and defending against the incoming monsters. They do their best to surround and stop the monsters from stepping foot inside the village. Next, the leader tells his spearman group to prepare for an attack. Suddenly, a warrior cloaked in red arrives at the front lines, cutting apart the monsters in a single slash. This mysterious warrior is revealed to be our hero, Junwoo, who also happens to be the famous A-ranked mercenary. Seeing him on the battlefield has ignited the hopes of the village guards. They offer his gratitude. The leader of the guards seems to find his face a bit familiar, which startles Junwoo. He remembers first meeting the same NPC at the beginning. Junwoo denies ever having met him before. Still, the guard thanks him for helping them out. After all, an A-rank mercenary is an amazing support to the villagers. They're happy to lend him a hand in the battle ahead. Junwoo likes what he's hearing, even though every monster in the upcoming wave is double his current level. Still, he's figured out a solution for that too. After activating the Lens of Certainty, Junwoo can see the health bars of the weaker monsters. This smartass targets only the weaker monsters and annihilates them in a final attack. As a show of strength, Junwoo slices and dices all the weaker monsters in his path. Just like his A-rank status, the village guards are impressed by his fearless attacks, which are powerful enough to beat any monster in his way. What they don't know is that he's cherry-picking only the weakest monsters. Junwoo lunges for an aerial strike and cuts down on another monster. It is required that he deals the finishing blow, because unlike his previous mission with a party, this mission can't grant him any rewards or experience points without his participation. Junwoo is able to use his sword with precision, impressing the village guards even more. They're glazing the heck out of him, but they don't know the dude is fooling their asses. He spots a berserk werewolf and happily takes his shot by killing the monster in a single attack. Junwoo levels up as a consequence and even kills another monster to save a guard's life. His experience points keep racking up one after the other. Junwoo is annoyed about the status window and turns it off to stop getting distracted. He steps into the fight, this time setting his eyes on 5 insect-type monsters, with less than 10% health remaining. It's an easy kill, the ideal prey. So he launches a full-scale attack, and with a single sword swing, causes heavy damage. The village guard is worried for him since Junwoo's previous attack didn't kill the monster, but he's prepared for that possibility too. He strikes down a second, and then a third insect monster with such grace that it makes it seem effortless. After taking down the 4th and 5th insect-class monster, a smile forms on his face, followed by a giant explosion of magic, shocking the guards again with his powers. They weren't expecting this mercenary to also wield the powers of a competent mage. When the smoke clears, Junwoo stands with his reputation higher than ever. Back when he concluded his training, Junwoo capably leveled up his sword proficiency to 100. He unlocks a new stat called Mark, which allows him to leave additional attacks on targets that have been stunned by his slash skill. After using this skill, they cause an explosion effect with a high-level fire damage for each mark used. In short, after slashing 5 targets, Junwoo can make them explode with his sword skill. Normally, detonation skills like these come with a drawback for the caster because they are also caught in the blast. Junwoo comes up with an idea and decides to check his warehouse for more help. That's how he ended up wearing light red armor to resist the effects of the flames. It's a sturdy armor that makes him resistant to explosions, negating any drawbacks of his mark skill. Junwoo lunges forth to strike, unleashing barrels of explosions with every monster he attacks. The best part about his fire-type skill is that insect-type monsters are weak to flames. Suddenly, a giant monster enters the central square, causing great unease. It's a guillotine bear standing tall at level 150. What's more is that it's a named monster, which is much more superior and powerful than typical monsters. The best strategy against a named monster is to escape and let the guards deal with it. But this cannot get any worse for our boy. In a hilarious twist, the guards make way for their best mercenary to deal with the threat all on his own. Bro is starting to sweat so hard. But anyway, Junwoo anticipated the coming of a high-level monster. The rampaging guillotine bear thrusts forward to slash him. Our hero leaps away, barely avoiding its strike. He counters with a piercing slash, rendering a great deal of damage. Luckily, Junwoo knows about the monster's attack pattern to the point he can successfully anticipate its attacks. Unfortunately, his explosion ability won't be of much use here due to the thick skin of the rampaging monster. Instead, he went for an agile approach, dodging the creature's attacks and running right towards the other monsters. On his way through, Junwoo annihilated the lower-level monsters with his sword slashes. The bear refuses to forfeit its chase. Its only target is to kill Junwoo, but that's exactly what our boy was hoping would happen. He's happy with the current result and tosses a potion right in the bear's face. A strange effect starts to take place, marking the creature's body. Finally, Junwoo releases his explosion magic, defeating the monster in a single attack, and earning the praise of the city guards. Witnessing his mighty strength, the rest of the monsters don't have the guts to challenge the Red Warrior. Junwoo is feeling the opposite, and shares no ambitions of stopping. He happily lunges forth to defeat them all. After the fight ended,